seagulls follow the trawl, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Nobody cares, mate.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody fucking cares, mate, honestly.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Here we go, it's P.M.P. A wee bit late than never. Of course, some of us got to work on Saturday afternoons, but thanks to the Beeb, I was able to tune into the game. It was Celtic 5-0 today, a 5-star performance, if you want to call it that, and all that cheesy patter. Speaking of five, cheers Patrick McLaughlin, he got a fiver in the opening credits. That's a new record, mate. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And cheers to everyone who's came on the Boise bus. Hope I got as many names as I possibly could up on the screen as the opening credits were going. Tonight, joined by the face of P.M.P. People think he's my adversary. He's my pal! Terry Robb, what's happening?
Hey, Boise. You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Connor Carl joins us as well. How are you, young man?
I'm good. I'm very, very good.
Jamming. Right, enough of that shite. All that good stuff time. Do hit the subscribe button if you've not already. If you want to like, share, brilliant. Slag my hair, sound as well. If you want to become a Boise Bus member, like so many of you have, like Kevin 14, like Brown Warrior, like Paul Diet, like who else have we got in the list? Paul McGinley. I'll never go for that. Seamus Weatherall, he's a member. Paul Diet's a member. So if you want to do that, totally optional. Don't worry about it. If not, it is all good. All our content remains free and absolutely not VIP. Anyway, lads, now moving on to the football. That was just a wee bit of banter there, Terry, that seems to have went whoosh over everyone's head. You know, I'm £12 richer today anyway, that's all I can say. Anyway, Terry, what did you make of today's display? We were professional, weren't we? I think I would associate it with, in the words of, I'm going to talk about a guy I spoke about last week, Tony Haggerty. He used to always talk about the 2 A's, attitude and application. I'm sure he won't mind me ripping his patter off. But I thought today exemplified that, Terry. Attitude and application. You're playing Morton at home. Do Celtic take the foot off the gas? Well, the lineup, firstly, told us, all right, Big Ange is not having any respite. We've not got European football, by the way, so no excuse, in my opinion, not to take it as seriously as any other, as a cup semi-final. Do you know what I mean? But the performance-wise, I was extremely impressed by Celtic's application and attitude today. I thought they were, really up for it and played it and gave total respect to the challenge Morton were putting to them. And I just love to see that. I think that's very important. That fits in with the ethos Ange is trying to drive at the club. I thought it was summed up in a 5-0 win at home today, where it could have been the 10, but I thought we were relentless, and it was really refreshing to see that sort of attitude for the team.
Absolutely zero chances taken, Boise. I'd say whenever the Morton guys in the away dressing room seen the team line up, they're sitting there going, "Fuck it, this is pretty much flat out." And I listened to Ange's press conference yesterday, and he relayed sentiments that.
Did you do that cough on time there deliberately, Connor? That was at Andy's press conference. I don't need props, mate.
I'm not that clever.
He relayed sentiments that I think Mark, it might have been Thursday night or one of the other shows that Mark was on recently, and Mark was saying, you don't just put, I think it was Thursday, the TNF on Thursday night, you don't just put young guys in just for the sake of it. They've got to earn it. They've got to earn their place in the team. And Ange pretty much went with the same philosophy yesterday. He said, if anyone plays in this team, it's because they've earned that opportunity. Now, we've seen one player from the B team make the substitutes bench today, Bosun Lawal, and he came on. He came on at the end. What a big brute of a lad he is, by the way, as well.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
If he can get his shit together, he's certainly got the physique to play centre half. I'll tell you that. But I think people maybe expect that Rocco Vata might have made it. I think he's possibly carrying some kind of knock or something like that. But I've always been one for saying with the 9 subs, I genuinely think we can have a couple of B team players on there every single week. But Ange set his stall out. He went strong. We can argue what the strongest lineup is. We'll all have different answers. But that team was strong. That team was really, really strong. And that was effectively saying to Morton, we're not taking any chances with you guys. We're giving you full respect.
Exactly.
But you ain't putting us out of this cup. And I'll give Morton their dues. For the first 10 minutes, I thought Morton were very good. I thought they were aggressive. They had a lot of energy, and the whole life was just sucked out of them with that decision in the 13 minutes. And to be honest, the game as a contest ended on 13 minutes because after that, Celtic just started to swagger and purr a little bit, and we can see that momentum. We talked about it during the week. We talked about it last weekend from that Rangers game. After that sort of sleepy first half that we had in the following game, we started to crank it up, and I can see the momentum building. Ange talked about it today as well. Pre-match, I think it was, just where this is the time of year when the guys are going to get going. This is when it's the finishing line's in sight, and we go full tilt. As I say, today's game was over in 13 minutes. After that, it was done as a contest. But that said, for the remainder of the game, it was a really, really good watch as a Celtic supporter. And the intensity didn't drop at any stage. We were 4 up at half time. And yes, we didn't add to that again until towards the end. But the intensity was still there. And something we've talked about before in the bus is the players and getting the ball and doing the quick. 77 minutes, Haksabanovic, who probably out of all the Celtic players maybe looks the least intense. He's quite laid back and he loves a shimmy. But he was demanding the ball off the ball boy on the 77th minute. I just made a note of it when I seen it. He was lambasting the ball boy to get the ball to him quickly. He could take a throw. And again, that epitomizes the whole philosophy. We never stop, all that kind of stuff. But I know it's a bit cheesy, but when you see it actually happening, it's great. It's great to see for us.
Connor, we went out to Morton in 2011. Actually, it was their manager, Dougie Imrie, I think, who scored the winning penalty for them.
Dougie Imrie, yeah.
Dougie Imrie. And I think, Connor, when you've got to remember, the gulf between Celtic and Morton is as big now as it was then. So it can happen. See, when you take things for granted or you're not fully at it and there's any sort of creeping of complacency coming in there, or complacency creeping in there, I meant to say, that just doesn't work sometimes in these sort of competitions. Ange Postecoglou doesn't allow that. And clearly, I thought by the lineup was sending out a statement that we're taking this tournament. Obviously, we expect Celtic to take it seriously, but actually the opposition, even from the first round to the final, this is how we're going to be. Do you know what I mean? Right through it. And I think, to be honest, it should be one of those ones that when you see that the starting lineup and you see after, as Terry says, effectively it's over as a contest in 13 minutes. But I think, it's got to just fucking hell. For all the other teams, I forgot they're in it. They're going to be the exact same in this competition as they are in the league. Oh, do you know what I mean? It must be a nightmare for teams to deal with. And I actually thought Morton had a bit of a go, to be honest with you, in the opening stage. I thought, fair play to them, because I didn't think we'd started necessarily badly. I just thought they actually won't have a go. They won a couple of corner kicks in the opening 10 minutes, and then obviously quality is always going to shine through. Let's talk about the penalty.
Just before Connor comes in, I thought the Morton fans had to go 2,000. When do we ever see 2,000 away fans filling that way end? Hey,
that's a good point.
Credit to those guys, absolutely.
Big props to the Morton fans turning up and in force. I'd like if the other teams in the league did that as well. It'd be nice to be more a spectacle that way, a bit more I'll make a show of it. But no, I with Ange, you can just see that he doesn't fuck about. He's like, no, I think he's learned his lesson from making a whole bunch of changes and resting players. When we played St Mirren earlier in the year, he's kind of just went, nope, I've tried that, didn't work out, and I'm going to just go gung ho, all guns blazing, full force out and playing.
I see, to be fair on that as well, Colin, I'm going to come back to you, mate, but see, just to pick on that point, I think as well, when you look at it, St Mirren defeat away, we were fucking rock bottom. We felt rock bottom just because we were used to it and we were gutted. But you've got to look at it, if you're going to be making a educated gamble, a gamble that's got a sort of insurance policy, it's an elite campaign where you've got, still at that point, there would have been another 30 games left. So you think about it, he's still got 90 points to play for, even if he loses that game. He's made 5 changes. You do that in the cup, one of those performances, that's you're out. There's no second chance. So it's quite interesting to think that maybe that was part of the thinking as well. And I think this guy is obsessed with winning trophies as well, Connor. To the game though, penalty. What did you make of that? I think for me, Connor, that was this sums up a few things Celtic fans have been saying, which quite like. Now, every Celtic fan to a man that I've seen on social media, etc., Connor, is saying that wasn't a penalty, right? So, bias stuff can be completely removed. In fact, it's a bit embarrassing that penalty was given. Secondly, it shows with the Efe Ambrose non-penalty in the second half, which, if ever there was more of a penalty, I thought it was that one. But I didn't really think either way, if I'm honest. But if he's given one, the other one's got to be given. So that highlighted then the inconsistency. And then you've got thirdly, where the suspicion comes in. And when it creeps in, Connor, you start going, like Phil was saying in the chat there, is this one of the examples they're going to say of decisions evening themselves out? Do it in a home game at home to Morton, and the conspiracy theorists, as they're called, will be quite right to call that out and go, very, very funny that Celtic get a dubious decision in a game they were always going to win. Let's be honest. What did you make of the penalty, Connor, and then the takeaways on that?
Oh, it was never a penalty in a million years. I was disgusted when it was given me. I was watching the game with my mate, and I was just like, that's ridiculous. It's never a penalty in a million years. And if you're a Morton fan, you'd be fucking livid with that, rightfully so. It's just shocking, and it's what Mark said. This is going back way when VAR was first introduced with the game at Tynecastle. He said that VAR, and I agree with him on this, VAR will balance itself out when Celtic are, going to be looking comfortable. So even if that penalty wasn't given in Celtic, and maybe waited a bit longer to score, we would have more than likely beat Morton pretty comfortably because of the gap in quality. So it's really annoying, but they've gave that penalty to the 100%, and in the back of their minds and the people watching it are just saying, oh, those bastards, those Tim bastards with their tinfoil hats can crumple them up now and throw them in the bin. No, because it makes it look worse now, because you're like, why would you give us that? I didn't even really see anybody in the stadium claim for it. Nothing like any of the players, really. it then went to VAR for like 5 minutes, and they were looking at the monitor. I'm just like, surely they can't give that, and they did, and I was so befuddled by it. I was like, this is mental, but you know, at the end of the day, like, you can't just say, oh no, we're not going to take the penalty. Like, you can't just refuse it and just say it's not right. You've got to take what you're given. But you know, it's just highlighting the inconsistency and the blatant terrible nature of the referees in this country, because they either have to be consistent, whether that's good or bad, and people say, oh, they're consistently bad, but they're not, because if you gave that penalty decision to us earlier, you then have to give the penalty later, because it's the exact same thing. In fact, it was even more of a blatant handball, if you want to put it that way, because the way that the way that Ambrose kind of fell, he didn't really tackle.
Well, if I'm honest,
I know, no, none of them were, in my opinion. But if you give one, you have to give the other. We've seen this before in games with Celtic before. Teams have, you know, been given penalties and that against us for handballs that are never handballs in a million years, and then they don't give us that same benefit of the doubt. But they're doing it today, and it's not even if it's subjective. This whole subjective pish cannot come into it anymore. It's not subjective. It's not a penalty in a million years.
Season, my friend.
Oh, it's going to be the subjective season. It's going to be the VAR season. You know, it's ridiculous. But you know, honestly, I don't like Dougie Imrie, but he was spot on today after the game, and he said, "VAR's killing the game. It's killing the game." Today was the only game I've seen recently where our goals weren't checked by VAR. I feel like every one of the goals we score recently are getting checked by VAR for being offside, or you know, if there's even a slight, and you're like, okay, fair enough. I don't know why they chose a Scottish Cup tie with Morton to, you know, suddenly become Celtic cheerleaders or whatever, because that's what the media are going to just go with this, and you know. And like, you just say, oh, if he's still a Celtic agent, he's, you know, he's a man behind the curtain, he's a double agent, and just and Celtic can't complain anymore. What are you complaining about? Look at the decisions you got. But we can still complain about the standard of refereeing and how VAR is implemented. It's shocking.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Terry, the thing is with VAR's ruining football. I think VAR's got a good place in football. I think it's important to have video assistant referees in almost all forms of sport. I think it brings a positive thing to sport, because you get the correct decision. It's people running ours. It's the version of ours we've got. We've been around this, you know, this tale many a time, Terry, on the P.M.P. But you know, the more we complain about a Celtic thing, you then see it going again, like Forest today, and I actually love the fact our supporter base react, not with the same sort of venom, because obviously when our team are, you know, hampered by it, of course we're fucking raging. That's the team we support. But I think in numbers of comments about that was never a penalty from Celtic fans, I would say it was on the same scale as what it was if it had went against us. So I think that's, firstly, kudos to our supporters, because it does prove a point. We're not out here to look for favours. We're out here for fairness. And I think you've seen that in the reaction so far. I take it you're in the same sort of area of space that Connor is with regards to the penalty decision and how much we're getting us wrong.
Absolutely horrendous decision. I didn't want it to be given. I don't want Celtic to get anything other than what we're due. I want to win fair and square. Anytime we get a decision that isn't right, a part of me feels I don't want that. I want the right decision. I want us to win on merits. If we win because of poor decision by an official, it doesn't really sit right with me. I don't want any fair treat or any special treatment. I want it to be fair. And today that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair on Morton. They've come there. They've come out of the traps in the first 10 minutes. They've been aggressive. They've had a game plan, and just to have that taken away from you with an absolutely shocking decision. And Kevin Clancy makes the decision, and he gets the right decision. It wasn't a handball. Then he stands with his hand over his ear for 3 full minutes. Don't know what that conversation was about. Then he decides to go and look at it. and then he decides to change his mind and make the wrong decision after having already made the right decision. That's how the technology is being used incorrectly. He made the correct call, and then he changed his mind because of whatever was put in his ear, persuading him to come and like how did it take 3 minutes? How did it take 3 minutes to decide, come and look at this?
That's one aspect. Here's the other one I've got for you. Has a referee ever went to the monitor so far in Scottish football and still stuck by their guns?
Not in Scotland. I think I've seen it once in England or maybe twice in England. I've not
So
seen it in
basically, when there's
Scotland.
something to the camera, is the conversation going along the lines of, you're going to need to go to the camera and change your decision here, mate? I think that's how the conversation must be. I don't think they go to that camera to get a better look. I think there's a bit of virtue signaling with that. Do you know what I mean?
Here's the thing, Russell. Clancy's quite an experienced ref, but say you're a young ref starting out and you're inexperienced, and you've got maybe Willie Cullum in the VAR room. If Willie's in your ear telling you he thinks you've made the wrong decision, you're going to shit yourself and you're going to go with Willie's view. You're not going to have the strength of character to say, actually, Willie, thank you for your input. I've seen it and I'm standing by my decision. That's not going to happen. These young guys are going to go, fuck, I better. Willie's been refereeing in this country for 20 years. I better go with what Willie says or I might lose my job. Here's another thing, Russell. There's a couple of points I want to make on this before I forget, because I've got my brain's like a sieve. Here's the thing.
I did ask if you were drunk enough to come on tonight.
Here's the thing. And there's a factual answer to this because we've already seen it. So this is the answer coming before the question. The question is, that same scenario at Ibrox, do we get that decision? The answer is clearly no, because we have been to Ibrox and we've seen an actual handball where a guy stood like this. F.A. Ambrose had his arm by his side in probably the most natural position a centre-half could have it in. The ball hit a colleague's foot and bounced up onto his arm that was down by his side. Yet, that's a penalty. But you've a guy standing like this, like fucking Superman flying through the air, and it hits his hands. And that's not a penalty. So if that happened to Ibrox today, would we have ended up with a spot kick?
It's a rhetorical question, Terry.
No, the answer's already been there because we've seen it and we didn't get it. And here's the other thing. This is just makes the whole thing an absolute fucking complete farce. There's only 3 games in this competition this weekend that will have VAR, and the other games don't. So if that game had been played at the other ground, that wouldn't have been a penalty.
Capello.
It went to VAR.
Sorry, Morton fans, Capello.
Yeah,
but you're right.
How can you have a competition? There's rules for 3. There's one rule for 3 matches, and the rest of the matches we don't really give a fuck about. You. We don't really care. Let us know who got through, and we'll fire your name into the next round.
If that's the case, then there shouldn't be VAR in any of them.
No, correct, because it should be the same for every single match that's played in the competition, right? That's a fact. Let's move on to cheerier topics, because there's 107 watching live right now, and they want Celtic patter. They don't want it all to be moaning about VAR, because we've got to do it every week anyway. Conor Kyogo. He's finished these with style. Effie, what am I like? Effie is full set. I thought that was funny. But I mean, it's a clinical finish for the wee fella. He gets up to, not that wee fella. It's a clinical finish for the wee guy, and he goes up now to 20 goals for the season. Not bad for January. Are we going to see Kyogo hit the 30 mark this year? It's been a while since we had a striker who did.
Well, I think now more than ever, obviously with Big Yakimakis out the door, he's going to be number 1 most definitely for the future, obviously barring any other dips in form or new players coming in pulling up roots. But I think he's a shoe-in to get at least 30 this season. Not necessarily in the league, but in all competitions. But he's on fucking fire now, and I love it. I love seeing it because at the start of the season it was brilliant. And it took just a dip. He couldn't fucking score to save himself, couldn't finish his dinner. And now he's reaching a precipice. He's going up and up and up and up and up every week. And I don't know why. I'm just doing this all the time. Every time he's on a hat trick, he subs him off. He just takes him off when he's like, he can get a hat trick. You're like, what are you doing? He's a shoe-in to get a hat trick near enough. He's had 2 braces in a row, and he's like, he could have had 2 hat tricks in the space of a week, and Ange is just subbing him off. But you know, it's a brilliant run of form he's in. He's looking like the Kyogo that we've seen when he first came in at the club. You know, obviously when we first came in and he just started hitting the ground running, we were like, holy fuck, who's this wee guy, man? He's different gravy.
Totally, mate.
But you know, and long may it continue for me. And you know, he's obviously he's broke his duck against his zombies. So we don't really have that to worry about anymore. And I just think he's going to run absolute riot to the end of the season. I think he's going to be top goal scorer by a country mile. That is, unless Hearts keep getting more fucking penalties. But you know, and then fucking big Pennywise Shankland will come in and score more. But you know, no, I think Kyogo's a
He'll
shoe
only
in to
cost
get top
pennies,
scorer.
according to Terry.
What?
He'll only cost pennies, according to Terry. Oh, we can pick that up later, Terry.
Just
once
you
we're
wait and
finished.
see, Russell. Just you wait and see.
He's not backing down, he's doubling down. Terry, Loopy comes in with a very interesting point here about Kyogo's form. I think Loopy 33's got a good point here, because if he is rotated, he loses his touch. It shouldn't be that way, really. But I think that factually he's right. I don't agree with that, because I think all the strikers, striker of Celtic have got to be getting pushed by at least two others, I think, really, for that jersey. If you're only playing one up top, if you've got two up top, there should be another two pushing for those jerseys. Do you know what I mean? That competition should be the hottest at the club. Do you know what I mean? To play up front for Celtic. And it shouldn't be affecting, it should be thriving in the environment of competition. But I take his point. I think the run of games has been good for Kyogo's form. His goals have, completely transformed from the form that he was in between, was it October, November? And I don't think he scored a league goal. It's like you look at it now, December, January, and he's a double every game. And, I think, he's got the run in the team, but the only caveat to that is he then needs to take it to the next level, right? But at this moment in time, all we've got is the games in front of us. If he keeps scoring each week, he's going to keep playing. That's fine. But he's also got to be able to handle competition for the jersey, because we can't just go off, no one we can sign is as good as him. I disagree with that, but on his form right now, he's scintillating, Terry, and he's exactly what Ange is wanting up top, and he's doing one hell of a job.
He's a joy to watch. Probably a wee bit like what I said with the team. The momentum's building, and I think you can see that with him. He did go through a wee spell there where things weren't going quite right for him. But I know he's still missing the odd punch here and there, but he's starting to put them away. And Connor, I know you were saying there, coming off on a hat trick, he didn't show any signs of that whatsoever. He was sitting on the sidelines. He was laughing and giggling with whoever he was talking to. I haven't a clue, but he just seems to be such a happy wee guy, and he seems to absolutely love the environment that he's found himself in, the adulation that he has from the fans, the camaraderie he has with his teammates, and it's going to be interesting to see, because we were chatting just before. I think there's a bit of movement tonight, possibly around a striker coming in, and obviously Giakoumakis on his way out. So I'll be really interested to see the caliber of any incoming striker, and then to see what opportunity that striker gets.
Yes.
So I think the interest seems to be around the two Korean guys, and there's chat that perhaps O is closer to signing than the guy that played in the World Cup and scored.
Cho.
Cho.
An interest there.
Before
Cho, there's still an interest there from both parties, but that one might play out later in the window or possibly in the summer. There's also rumours around Kevin Nisbet, which we covered during the week, and who I do think is quite a decent player. Is he going to be first choice for Celtic? Probably not, but we do need multiple players for every position. So I'm just interested to see. I think I've accepted. I kind of hoped maybe 10 days ago, I hoped Giakoumakis, there was some kind of way he would stay. That probably doesn't look likely at this stage. He's probably not going to be here by the next P.M.P that we do after Dundee United. And I wish him well, but I'll be really interested to see whoever comes in, to see exactly what opportunity they get, what do they bring that's either the same or different to Giakoumakis. Because if we bring in an absolute like for like, then it takes away from the theory that his style didn't fit. So I must admit, I don't know anything about I haven't seen him. I haven't even gone to his YouTube. I don't
He
know
looks
anything.
big batty. He looks mean.
Yeah.
We were in the group chat, and there was a photo sent to me. I was like, it's like, look at him. Just looks mental.
Aye.
I
What I
don't
thought
know. On that basis, sign him. That's how fucking naive I am.
And when Kyogo did go off today and move my head into the middle, I'm kind of thinking, is this just a very quick experiment? Hoping the way the first half's gone, we're 4-0 up, Maeda knocks in 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden we're going, well, actually, we do have our backup striker because there's Dizan's bagged a hat trick. He didn't. He put in a shift. He didn't really have any opportunities, maybe one half chance. But be interesting to see over the next 10 days how it goes.
It definitely will be, Connor, but we've got to give Kyogo his due right now. He's the number one striker at the club. It seems undisputed number one striker at the club. He's banging them in, though, at a fair rate of knots now, Connor. That's what we want from a number 9. I mean, you can't always be involved in the game, but as long as you're lively when you get your chances and you take them, I know he's been guilty at times, that, particularly this season, I would say, of missing opportunities that we thought he would take. But of late, I think he's definitely finding that ruthless streak that we'd seen last season seems to be back. And I'm convinced, mate, that this boy goes on to get the 30 plus. I think he's quoted as saying he's targeting.
I think he said at the start of the season, did he know he wants to score 30 plus goals or something like that?
I think he said it recently again. He said it recently once.
Right. Why? But no.
Came through my headset, mate.
Ideal. But no, he's well on his way. See, the thing about his missed chances is, like, if he takes them, and we know he can score them because obviously, but he'd be fucking miles clear at this point. He'd won about 30 goals already with the chances he's missed. But you know, actually, if your auntie had boss, he'd be your uncle. But still, aye. But he's not the only player who seems to be picking up a good bit of form recently. Isn't that right, Russell?
Aaron
Mooy.
Aaron. Oh, fuck.
I'm not having that one, boys. I'm not. Mine's better.
No, they're playing like Boney. Fuck you, mate. They're playing Boney M over the PA. Oh, go on, Terry. You tell us what you're.
No, I'll do it at the end. I'll take us out. I'll take us out.
You can update the whole The PA system at Celtic, I mean, they play it over the PA, but Terry knows best. Guys, it's what I do every week.
See, the weird thing is, with that, is Rio's got Rio, they play Duran whenever Rio scores. They play Rio by Duran, obviously. But his tune with the Celtic supporters is a different song entirely. The song that gets sang for him.
Is that? Mm-hmm. There was a bit of a half-arse there for a be adored today as well. Don't know if you've heard that.
Oh, fuck.
I think there was folk looking at each other going, it's not quite the same.
No, it's not the
same. I was like, something like, I don't know.
No.
Maybe a little click on, but
yeah, it was good for him to get a wee rest today, and Calmac also getting a half because Calmac and Hitati got the whole game.
Right, yeah.
And, although I'll say, to be honest, Iwata visually looks the exact same. And if the two of them are ever playing in the same midfield, you're not going to know which one's which.
Oh, I'm the same.
They're identical stature, hair.
I went away for a piss and I came back like, oh, it's a tactic you want.
Exactly. And Kobe Ashley, by the way, is going for the same hairdo and all. The three of them have got the exact same sort of hair, and I'm like, come on, man, you're fucking like, do you know what I mean?
You should dye it all different colours.
Aye, that'd be cool. Just so but I mean, when it comes to the midfielders, we need to talk about Mooy, Terry, because Connor's tearing me up, but he was brilliant today. Let's bear in mind the opposition was Morton. I want him to be brilliant against them. The guy's just played at World Cup 32, but he's in good form right now. It's undeniable. He's came back for the World Cup. He's a new man. He looks like he's the penalty taker. I'm all for that because we missed too many penalties.
Because he scored them.
Aye, and he's got that right sort of demeanour about him to take a penalty. He almost looks like he couldn't give a fuck. I think that's sometimes handy to have that as your demeanour. Whereas Jack Kamakis, you could tell, life depends on this. I'm like, for fuck's sake, calm down, you. He's like, well, I'll not get a game if I don't score, which is probably true. But Aaron Mooy knows he'll get picked anyway, so he'll be laughing. He's the manager's favourite, so No, he's definitely doing well right now. Love these involvements in the game. Terry, I'm going to need to back down a wee bit. I don't like backing down, but Aaron Moy's won me over to an extent so far.
Hi, boys. I think if Aaron Mooy had came to Celtic directly from Brighton, I don't think there would have been the same sort of cynicism around his transfer. I think it's because he's gone
2 years.
He's gone to China, right? He's gone to China. And again, we've brought players from Japan who have proved to be a lot better than we thought players from Japan would be. However, Mooy went to China in his late 20s for huge wages and then didn't really play. 2 years, a lot of inactivity. At the time, my thoughts were, if we get the Aaron Mooy that I've seen in the Premiership, then we're getting a good, solid player, albeit in the twilight of his career. And probably up until the World Cup, he probably looked as if there is a player there, but he's way off it. And he was off it. He was completely off it. He was completely off it. And what I've said a few times is, any team I've seen with Aaron Mooy, he is everything goes through him, absolutely everything, and that won't happen at Celtic. Although it is starting to happen a little bit, and his form since he came back from the World Cup has been excellent. And what I was thinking today is, looking ahead to this cup final, and this is what's going to be interesting over the next few weeks and create a real competitive edge across the players. There's one midfield role available for that cup final, all players being fit, because McGregor plays, Hatate plays. I think there's 3 players vying for that other place. Mooy is in the pole position, then O'Reilly, and David Turnbull's making a late burst for that. And then all over the pitch. Then you've
what
got
contribution could Ivata make over the next 4 weeks, Terry?
Who was that? Sorry, Boise.
Ivata. I don't.
Aye, well, he's
over the 4 weeks between now and the final.
I know, but he looks as if he's the 6, and he did nothing flash today. Apparently, he's only half fit. He's only half fit. The manager said that. He said he may even not make any contribution today. I thought he looked really neat and tidy. He didn't try anything flash. He looked neat and tidy. He looks as if he can recycle the play, keep possession, all of that. I think McGregor's place is assured. Hatate's place is assured. And yeah, probably 4 have got a chance. I think it's between the 3 that I mentioned, but I think Iwata will start to integrate himself between now and the summer with a view to being ready to play in the side from the start of next season. But going back to Mooy, excellent again today. Just keeps getting better and better. Looks fitter and fitter, and he started adding goals. So yeah, he got the penalty, but he also got another goal towards the end. That's 4 goals since he came back from the World Cup, which is bad going.
I think Connery was a bit shy when he first joined. I think he knew he was off the pace, and I think it came in his performances. He wasn't playing. See, right now, I don't think it's over the top, by the way, but I do think he's playing with almost what you could call a swagger in his game. There's a real sort of confidence oozing out of him, and I don't mind that, by the way. I like that in a player, but I didn't see that in the first half of the season from his performances, and I thought he was getting appearances where it wasn't really just, because if it's on form, he's nowhere near it. And you could argue, like we did on P.M.P, that had David Turnbull been afforded those opportunities, would he be the guy we're talking about right now as, one of the best players in the second half of the season or since the World Cup, yada, yada? I think so. But you have to credit Mooy for the opportunity he's been given since he's took it after the World Cup. And I think that was a huge confidence booster for him as well. But since then, I watched him today, and he seems to be popping up in almost every pocket of space on the park at different times, Connor. Now, that shows, firstly, a hunger to be, as Terry's saying, the link, the boy, give me the ball. Do you know what I mean? And he was popping up. He's at the right back area at one point. He's doing sort of trying mazy runs inside the opposition box. He's doing cutbacks. He's scoring goals from inside, just outside the 6-yard box, inside the penalty area. I mean, he was popping up everywhere today. And I think, undeniably, he's been a slow burner. But right now, on current form, he is valid competition, Connor, for that first choice 3 in midfield. And he's actually probably given Ange a bit of a headache. A headache I'm sure Ange wanted to have, judging by his favouritism towards him in the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think. I mean, talking about like his form when he first came in, you even have to look back at the St Mirren game when we lost. He was the worst player in the park by a mile. Granted, nobody was at their best that day, but Mooy particularly looked well off the pace. And back when that result happened, we were a bit like, oh Jesus Christ, what have we got here? But no, he's in this purple patch now, and honestly, this is not me being biased towards my baldy idol, but I think he's undroppable right now in current form. Ahead from O'Reilly has shown me nothing over the past few weeks as to why he should start over Mooy. He's okay, but he's tidy with the ball at his feet. And yeah, sure, he's top of the assists in the league, but he's just looking out of sorts now, and I don't know what it is. He doesn't look. He's not looking himself, and I don't know what it is. But I think with the Foy Moyes on, you can't drop him at all for me. I think he's he's cool, calm, and collected. He takes a good penalty, which is something we've been dying for. Now that both our penalty takers are away, it's good to have someone there who's seems.
For penalties.
He's took fucking the penalties he's took have been a light years better than any ones that I've seen Yakimakis and Juranovic take, but bar the Panenka against Bayer Leverkusen. But
We're not
I think
starting a player because he can take penalties, though. We're not starting a player because he can take penalties.
No, obviously not. But
what are you having that argument for?
Because I just think it's.
We're entering the second half of the show. Me and Terry are going to ramp up the pressure now, Connor.
I just think it's good because if he wasn't playing, who would take penalties? If he wasn't,
so you're saying then?
But I'm just saying who would. Who would? No, I'm just saying it's a good thing to have on the pitch, on top of all these other. Of course, it factors in. Of course, it factors in. You wouldn't have a player on the pitch who can't take a penalty.
Surely the fuck Kyogo can hit a penalty, like fuck me, centre forward.
Well, I've never seen him take one. I've never seen him take one. So.
My God.
You're calling Kyogo a shite bag.
Aye. Kyogo's fucking shite. I don't know who's got worse hair, you or him.
See, he goes personal. Folk can't talk football.
Bring it back round to Turnbull. Because we had this during the week.
Yeah,
thought he was okay today. Thought he was okay today. What a finish. Lovely finish.
For all Mooy will do that is very much about ball rotation and keeping it flowing. Not the same intensity as Calmac. But Calmac's became a wee bit shot shy. I've said this on midweek. David Turnbull yet again today. That's not an easy goal.
That was beautiful. Really controlled.
That's two games for him, and you go, yep. I think Turnbull doesn't think twice in those areas. I think he's the one. Again, you want to pick players for penalties, Connor, and I think I'm joking, but I think players that are going to be willing to take a strike and do it with accuracy and have a good goal conversion rate of doing it, Terry. That's an asset in that 3 in midfield as well that I think is pretty unique too.
Aye, boys, we talked about it during the week. He's the joker in the pack. All the rest of the players, they're great at this, recycling the ball, keeping possession, moving it about, trying to create that perfect chance, that sort of Ange ball goal where it makes its way to the 2 wide forwards, it makes its way in. Kyogo taps it in. Turnbull's different. Turnbull gets it and he shoots. That's it. I think he's worth keeping about, and I really do. I think he gives us just something completely different to all of the rest of them. That goal today was just the strike of somebody who he knew he was scoring that. He'd already decided before the ball came to him. He had himself in the correct position. He'd made the run. He'd anticipated what might happen. And he knew where he was putting that before it got to him. He didn't have to fucking slash at it like some of our players do. He just controlled it, positioned it right into the corner. Keeper hadn't a chance, and I'd like to see David Turnbull at least continue to get minutes and get an opportunity. I definitely think we fought hard enough to get this young lad, and I definitely think he's something to offer.
I think his biggest crime's been injured, Connor.
Aye.
David Turnbull. Do you not feel that, Connor, like, for all the players that go away, you know, and they get injured, we start building them up as, oh, it'll be like a new signing when he comes back. And because of the amount of quality and the volume of midfielders Ange has signed, make no mistake, he has, right? And some hits, some misses, by the way. No, sorry. But it's the truth. But Connor, I think you've in David Turnbull there, you've got a guy who just seems to have went out of favour with a lot of the fans very quickly, having done not all that much wrong in the Celtic jersey. I think his injuries have been his biggest crime.
I feel like that's kind of my fault he got injured. I kind of cursed him a wee bit. You know, I did tell you the story before, eh?
This guy's ego knows no fucking bounds.
No,
Terry.
no.
This is unbelievable.
Hey, look,
I
no,
thought,
look, it's
I
like
thought me and you were bad, Terry. This
look,
guy's
it's
fucking
like
ego's out
it's
of
my
control.
jersey curse. Look, 10 in a row season. Shane Duffy comes in, looks brilliant. His first 2 games and scores in both of them. I think he got a brace in one of them.
Connor, I backed him to be top goal scorer in the league.
Oh, right, okay, right. That's a lot fucking worse than me.
I thought he was going to score every match.
No, comes in his first 2 games, he scores a brace and scores in
I
both,
think
and he looks brilliant.
both off the show.
I get his name and number on the back of the new strip, right? And he just fucking goes down like a lead balloon. The next again last season, start of the season, I got the green and gold strip with Turnbull 14 on the back because he was the best player during the 10 in a row season. He was a one shining light and a heap of shite. And then he gets fucking injured. And he's absolutely fun. I've got a curse. I curse players when I get their name and number on the back of my shirt. So I don't do it anymore.
Or he either got injured or he dipped out of form. He can't dip out of form whilst he's injured.
No, he dipped out of form for a wee bit and then he got injured fucking in one of the games. So, you know, it's I'm absolutely cursed. So from now on, I won't get a single player's name on the back of my jersey, even if they're in shit hot form. I'm not
Connor,
touching it.
Connor, can you get Starfelt 4 on the back of your fucking shirt?
What is it with you and him, man? I feel sorry for the lad.
Honestly, see this last 2 weeks. See this.
Jesus
It's
Christ!
just like
We've not lost a league game with him and Carter Vickers in the squad together. You daft.
I don't care. I've got eyes. That's because of Carter Vickers. I've got eyes. Listen.
Oh, so he's done nothing. He
hasn't. See, even today.
Shut up.
No,
Fucking
listen.
Christ.
Listen. Let me just. The last 2 weeks, I've been watching lots of pods, and I've had lots of people going, "Oh,
the jumper's coming off."
There's lots of people beating up on Starfelt, and he's brilliant. He's this and he's that. He's fucking. He's not.
So if I'm not listening,
He's absolutely pish. Now you're getting ready to scrap here. You do know you can't hit me down through the fucking link, you know. No, honestly, this guy, even against Morton, was able to make himself look fucking piss average. Absolutely piss average. It's not hate. It's really not hate. I like the guy. I want him to do well. I think he's got qualities, but I just fucking do not think he is up to the job. And the same goes for Burnaby at left back. Burnaby got absolutely skinned alive by some guy from Morton in the first 45 minutes. It's fucking absolutely embarrassing. Going forward, he looks good. Defensively, he's not at it either. No, I'm not having it. I do feel as if I'm coming across as if I hate Starfelt. I don't hate him.
Oh no, you made that clear.
I want him to be good.
I'd hate to be in the wrong end of you if you didn't hate him. What do you do?
I want the guy to
man?
be good,
Jesus Christ.
But see if you make mistakes every single game. If I make mistakes every single day in my work, I won't be in my work in 2 weeks' time. If Boise or you make mistakes every single day in your work,
with it, man.
you know what? No, you might, but you know what? At some stage, somebody comes to you and says, "Do you know what, mate? You've had the warnings, you've had the conversations, you haven't taken the feedback on board. You're still doing the same thing that you did a year ago. You're still making the same mistakes that you make every single fucking week. You haven't learned from any of the mistakes you've made." Sideways. I will be very, very surprised if that guy's in the first 11 come the start of next season.
Well, well, hopefully that would mean because we've invested in that area of the park and we've got the money to do so, and we've brought in better than a Swedish international centre back.
I hope so. I mean, Kobayashi quiet enough sort of performance today. I know we said he looked decent the other night. The one thing I would say about that is, and again, it's a little bit of a defence of Starfelt. When Starfelt's on the left-hand side of the two centre halves and he gets the ball, his most natural pass is to the fullback, the left back. Whereas when Kobayashi gets the ball, because he's left-footed, his most natural pass is actually to pass forward. And I think that makes it look so natural. Do you know what? I do love the guy. I would love him to be. I would love him to be.
The Starfish.
I would love Starfish to be the absolute brilliant centre half. I love centre halves and I love good ones. But at the minute, he ain't one of them. That's it.
I mean, yeah, he's a good-looking boy. I think he's doing okay. I mean, I don't. He's doing okay. I think it'll be interesting to see and contrast and compare Kobayashi with Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think that's naturally the next step that we take with the centre halves. But talking about players that have come in, obviously, we're all shocked on the bus to find out that Josip Juranovic will be leaving. And if anyone's been paying attention on these journeys that we've been on, how much, Connor, is Josip Juranovic worth? You know, I made a case one show saying, oh, fuck it, we should just try and get 20, 25 million when I see the daft fees elsewhere. But the reality was, we always said, this guy is a 10 to 15 million pound player. You're doing well. It looks like he's away to Union Berlin. Ange from 2 days ago has now got loads of insight on transfers that apparently must have just cropped up out of nowhere. And one thing I'm going to pick up on, I've got a couple of points on this. So Juranovic leaves 7.5 million, and it's going to be 2.5 million add-ons to take up to 10. What those add-ons are, I'm not sure. Maybe another man of the match against Brazil. Maybe that's. But one of the things is that Ange said, whilst disclosing obviously that it looks like he's away to talk about it. I'm delighted for him. I'm not quite sure I like them saying that. In my honest opinion, I'm like, whoa. What do you mean you're delighted for him going to Union Berlin? You know, I thought it was Hertha Berlin. I didn't even know Union Berlin were a team. Like, wait the new, just to have one flash in the pan season in the Bundesliga with Rambo. I'm like that. Wait the new. In Union, in Berlin, in München, in Bayern. But I'm just like, wait the new. What do you mean you're delighted for him? Why are you delighted for him? Don't start making out that you're delighted for players leaving the club as if it's onto pastures new that are bigger and better things. So I didn't like him saying that. I don't know if he was just, giving a generic positive answer. But that fee for Juranovic, I think, stands up. In my opinion, we paid 2.6 million for him. We had one good season out of him. We had a dodgy 6 months off him. We got treble the money for him up front, potentially quadruple the money based on whatever these clauses are. And we've got, in my opinion, a bona fide replacement for the same money we paid for Juranovic in the first place. I'm okay with all of that. I think that's been a good deal all round. I think Celtic fans disappointed with the fee is maybe just themselves to blame for deluding themselves that this guy is on some sort of level that he never, ever, ever was, Connor.
I feel like it's more. I feel like we kind of sold ourselves up the river when it came to pricing Juranovic. Now, some people like yourself were kind of more realistic with it, but I feel all the accolades, if you want to put that on him, like semi-final of the World Cup, third place, playoff, winning third place playoff. Was basically one of the man of the matches against Brazil. He's brilliant. Plus the fact he's, scored goals in Europe. He's won league title with Celtic and the cup. And we were kind of thinking, and he's, he was the starting right back as well. I feel like we kind of were like, oh, that's like, you seen the fucking silly money that Premier League teams are paying. Like I think Nottingham Forest paid £50 million for some fucking nobody for Wolves, or was it the other way about? But and we're like, oh, like all the teams pay absolutely out the arse for absolute nobody's heard of, and yep. the kind of the gears started turning in everybody's head, thinking, Jesus, like he could go for Tierney money, he could break the transfer record with all these things on top of his performances. And I feel like when that bombshell a tweet came out about him only going for 7 million to Monza with Berlusconi, we were a bit like, oh fuck, geez, where's the hell's happened here? But the rumour is that the reason that Don Mackay got the bullet is because he approved. Is that true?
No, that we'll think about it, right? See, that was said on the other pod, right, on Thursday, right? See if there was an element of truth in that. There wouldn't be a sell-on clause in Juranovic's deal. Because if you meet a minimum fee release clause, that's the deal. You don't need to dress up and sugarcoat it with extra clauses, which has been done here. So I would say there was maybe some sort of accurate speculation in what was said on that Thursday. There was rumours the papers are going to run with it. Didn't happen. It didn't surprise me. I watched that and I thought, I got sent the clip and I watched that. I just thought, that's...
No, you watched it. You were on live.
I was on live in the comments, man, with one of my alter egos. I was using one of my different avatars, you know what I mean? Like going like, fuck this, man. I didn't actually work, do you know what I mean?
There's still a wee question mark out there, though, around what the fuck happened with Don Mackay, so... Something's gone wrong.
But tying it in, this is so tragic, though, Terry. See, to tie it in, the second there's something that's went against all the rainbows and treasure chests, right? And everyone's like, reality's bitten, and suddenly we hark back to, actually, Don Mackay's to blame. It's so transparent.
The only bit,
let me finish. Folk have bummed this guy up, Terry, Juranovic, to a level that was unrealistic, unsustainable in terms of getting the fee, and his realities came crashing down. And what has happened is a realistic fee for a decent player, Terry's occurred. It's got fuck all to do with Don Mackay.
He's still. I think that's a bit. I think maybe the pylon on Juranovic has been a wee bit over exaggerated. He is a fucking good player. Don't get me wrong. He is a good player. Yes, we might have. Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. You don't get to play in a World Cup third place match unless you're a good player. Henrik Larsson
played the third place playoff. He's a decent player. He's not even a decent player, Barry said.
I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player.
He's a good player. Oh, come on.
I think he's gone. I think once we knew he was gone, he's gone from being a good player to a bang average player to a decent player.
I said he was a decent player. I said he was a decent player. I said he was a decent player. When he scored that OG, I said he's a decent player. Folk have overrated this guy. I said it then. I think we've gotten a good deal here. Triple the money on him. We've bought in a better player with the money that he cost. 5 million profit, and we brought in Ivata, Kobayashi, and Johnston. Probably the next striker.
I hear. Do you know what? Fuck the Juranovic chat. Johnson nearly scored today. Can you imagine what it's going to be like the day he gets his first goal? He should have had it today.
He's going to be like Forrest Gump up and doing that pitch. I could just be like Forrest Gump. Just from that day on, everywhere I went, I was running.
He'd be way up the tunnel. He'd just say, Ange, stick roster on there. I'm away to fuck here. No, honestly, he's just become a cult hero, Boise, within a few weeks, Johnson.
Oh, I love him.
Cult hero. I think he's going to be the new cult hero of the bus post Giakoumakis. I think it's Johnson. What do you think of that? I think we all love him straight away.
I gave him a nickname before he even got in the fucking door.
Why?
Because I like the look of him. I like them. I think he's great. I think he's like, aye, scores penalties. Scores penalties. All he needs to do is get a ball there and he'll be my favourite player.
He just looks as if he wants to be here. He really does.
Aye.
He really does.
I think he's got a refreshing attitude to the game. I think he's like that. Pitch has got no turf on it. Muddy as fuck. He's like, who are we playing? Oh, they're going to be getting you a bit back. I think he thrives in that. I think he does.
What does it mean for another of the bus favourites, Tony Ralston?
I think he'll be used. I think it will be very similar to what we've seen with Juranovic. I think it'll be 70% Johnston, 30% Ralston.
So you do think Johnston's clearly number one?
Yeah. Fuck I think that, and I think, put it this way, I think we found out, particularly in the opening stages this season, Ralston is Ange's backup right back, right? Because Juranovic was out of form. Ralston couldn't get starts, even then. I do think, but I also think it'll be more rotated than traditionally when you've got your backup right back and your number one right back, Terry. I do still think we'll see more of Ralston than you would traditionally the reserve right back, but that's because squad rotation's rife across the first 11 range. But which is good because I think Ralston will have a big part to play. But Johnston definitely for me he's the boy. He's got the right attitude, and yeah, you're right, cult hero of the bus.
Yeah.
Alistair Johnson, CSC on the bus. Yes, let's do it.
Here, it seems to be Ralston's had a wee setback in his recovery as well. So he came back during the week and he was on the bench, didn't make an appearance, but then he was completely out of the match day squad today. And the manager said he'd had a bit of a setback and they were sending him for a scan. They didn't think it was serious, but at this point in time, they just don't know the timeline. So could be a period where Juranovic goes, Ralston isn't available, and we're kind of just hoping nothing happens to Johnson in the meantime.
Well, there's a bit of that, but I mean, I think for a right back, that would be the normal situation, that position. I don't think you tend to have much more depth of covering that in that area. No. Another player, Ange, again, some tune to change in 2 days. Ange, I know all this news must have came as a surprise to you, big man, when we were all speculating on it, but he says that Giacomakis corner was left out today because he'd only trained, the past couple of days, and he might have another one or two things going on in the background as well. So, yeah. What does that mean?
He's away. He's gone. He's off ski. He's out the building. Chaos has left the building. Honestly, like, we all knew this. Like, see, the only thing that's annoying me, right, about the thing with Ange, and it's not really like annoying me, it's kind of just like nipping at me a wee bit. Why is Ange lying? Why is he lying to everybody about saying, "Oh, I don't know anything's going, nothing's happening. As far as I know, nothing's happening. Nah, we're all right." Why is he lying? That's the thing that's annoying me. And look, there's a thing about no giving anything away, right? No giving anything to the fucking media, right? Fair enough, right? I don't want the media, like, look, honestly, the media links us with fucking every Japanese player under the sun now, and just stuff like that's going on. And even though we might not even have any interest in them, but I understand not giving it into the media. But like, why are you lying? Like, other managers and other teams, and the fucking Del Boy across the cities, like, talking about transfers and letting teams know, that letting their fans know that things are going on with regards to transfers. Why is he not telling us? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, oh yeah, there's a couple of things in the works right now, and maybe one or two players will go out and we'll get one or two players in. And he said that now, but he's kind of not like being 100% honest.
Yeah, I thought he was cagey midweek. I agree to an extent with what you're saying. Lying's a strong word. I think he was using facts, but he was well aware that interest was real and something was close. And the way he was delivering it was like, oh, there's nothing happening. But really what he was saying was, well, there's no bids on the table as such, right? And factually, he could look you in the eye and say that was the case at that time. But what really, what we were looking for was, do these two players look like they could potentially be leaving? There is interest. And he wasn't giving us that look, they would be susceptible to leaving if that interest becomes concrete. He didn't want to give that away. Totally up to him. I get that. I do think sometimes, though, the fans have a right to know as well. I get they're not wanting to let the media know things. But on the other hand, the press conferences were designed initially to keep the fans up to date. And I think that way, when it's like, okay, it's pretty much Juranovic is gone and, Giacomakis is gone, suddenly then it's like, oh yeah, one or two things going on in the background. That doesn't happen just over 24 hours, right? Especially when we've seen all the rumours leading up to that over the past week that, as I say, Sky Sports, for example, were saying it as fact, not as anything, anything but that. But if Giacomakis does leave and Juranovic leaves, it is 2 fees, Terry. I think we've got to admit, will disappoint Celtic fans. I'm okay with the Juranovic one, because I think that was one that was blown out of proportion, and I think it's actually good business. The Giacomakis one's curious. For me, Terry, I think actually the lack of playing time and fair crack about whip he was given, I do genuinely feel that we've driven down his price tag a wee bit.
I'm of the belief, boys, that I definitely, going back to the discussion from during the week, I definitely believe somebody has fucked up somewhere. I really do. I believe there's release clauses for both of these guys that have not allowed for the improvement. And I mean, if we sign Juranovic and we're led to believe Juranovic going rate is 12.5 million, but we can get him for 3.5 or 3 because of a clause, that team goes down. How
it
then?
wasn't necessarily his going rate. See, just to clarify that, and I might have been misleading with what it was he had a release clause from VV Venlo of 12 million.
Right.
So they're going upper bracket for him to leave. So that's not necessarily what his going market rate was. But
You're
because they got
playing
relegated, it became 2.6.
You're playing into my argument here. His release clause with VVV Venlo was 12.5. We can sign him for 3 because they've been relegated. Yet we put a release clause in that allows him to go after being the top goal scorer in the league, only starting 30% of the games. And he can go for the same fee that we got him for, maybe another wee bit on top. There's something doesn't add up there. Somebody somewhere along the line has ballsed up with Juranovic. Also, both of these guys were in 5-year deals, to the best of my knowledge, or they were on substantial contracts.
They were.
We're renegotiating with both at some point, seems to be the narrative. Why would Celtic be willing to engage and renegotiate 1 year in to a 5-year deal unless it was in Celtic's interest to renegotiate 1 year in? And I think that's where the truth lies. Celtic were keen to renegotiate because Celtic realised we fucking ballsed up on both of these. We could lose both of these for much less than what we could get. We need to renegotiate. We need to get a new deal in place. And that deal gets rid of the fucking stupid sell-on fees that somebody, I'm not saying Don Mackay, somebody has agreed to. And that's why we're in this position. That's what I believe of. That's I think the truth's in there somewhere.
I don't think the Juranovic deal blows that argument apart, though. Because Juranovic is left with sell-on clauses or he's about to leave. £7.5 million. You've got a release clause. You don't need to add sweeteners on it. The release clause. You don't need to pander to the club. Any other extra wee sweeteners, you're approaching that to the player. You bring that to the player to make sure that they sign. But if there's a release clause in there, you don't need to worry, Terry, about the fucking, oh, and by the way, if he does well, we'll send you an extra couple of million. But why would you do that? You don't need to do that. If you match his release clause, the set is black and white. In the case of Juranovic, I am convinced, no one wants to admit it, but I think we like Juranovic, Ange doesn't. And that's why he's going for a lower fee, because Ange is going, I can get better with that money. And he's going to fit my system better with that money. Take it, because he's not going to feature, and it's only going to get worse. And I do think it's a lesser fee than Juranovic is worth, and I think he's lack of game time. What was it, 11 Premier League starts last season, 4 starts this season, 15, 16 Premier League starts in 19 months at the club. That drives down a player's value, despite the goals, right? And that tells you that he's not good enough to play for Celtic, yada, yada, even though I think he potentially is. And I think that is an Ange decision to go, fuck it, get the 4 million in, because whether it be O that Connor was talking about, whether it be Cho, whether it be fucking, I don't know, Little Mo, who cares? Right? I think he thinks the £4 million, I'll reinvest it and we'll get a shitload back for that one. Watch what I'm doing with the rest, because I didn't actually go all out to sign Juranovic. That's what I think it is. I think it's more of a footballing decision. And the Juranovic one, I am convinced they think the same as me. It's good money for a decent player. That is where I'm at on it. What do you think, Connor?
And going back to what I said, I take back. No, didn't take back. I'm no doubling down, but I don't think Angie's lying. I just don't think he's been as transparent as we would kind of like him to be. But I can see where you're. I know. I like what you're. I agree with what you're saying with regards to that. The only thing that's stinging me is the Celtic and the Celtic board love money. They love fucking making money.
Mm-hmm.
So my only thing is granted, maybe that's the highest we were getting offered, and we have to kind of just, take what we're given. But still, I think just the prices just seem a wee bit off, especially with Giakoumakis. I feel like Juranovic going for 7 to 10 million is decent considering how good a player he is. But Giakoumakis, so I feel like a player like him, I've seen go for quadruple that easily with what he can provide and the fact that he scores so many goals and stuff. That's the thing that's puzzling me about it, is the low fee and the destination as well. By the looks of it, is it still Japan he's meant to be going to? Which that's because I feel like he's wanting to be number one somewhere, and he's wanting to step up to the plate and make the most of it. But it's just the way that I don't get how it's so low. I don't know what it is. It's no bugging me. It's just confusing me more than anything else. The low fee. I feel like he's at least worth what Juranovic is worth.
We all think that. But again, I think there's a few reality bites going around here. I think Juranovic probably believed a bit of his hype, and his agent definitely would have, right?
His agent's the devil on his shoulder.
And I think when you turn out it's Union Berlin having a one-season wonder is your level, and you're not actually even an 8-figure player unless these clauses are all met, reality bites. Giakoumakis probably thought he'd done enough to get regular starts for Celtic, but for whatever reason, and we're not privy to it all, he's not impressed Ange enough. Reality bites. Kyogo's still ahead of you, mate, even though he's out of form. And out of form, Kyogo, I still fancy more than you. Reality bites. When it comes to getting better contracts, well, if you're not in my team, you're not going to get one. You might get one, but the better contract you're getting offers in Japan. Celtic maybe thought they were going to get more money for Giakoumakis at one point, but now it's the only offer on the table. They put it to the manager, and if the manager goes, fuck it, just take it, because the guy I'm looking at is less than that anyway. Reality bites for us as well. There's loads of different, there's loads of learning curves. I think in all honesty, I think Juranovic contributed massively in our title winning year last year. Okay. This year, not for me, this season, not so much. Giakoumakis was the top scorer in the league, contributed massively last season. This season, again, not so much. The two players' fees that we had in our head were probably cuckoo land to an extent because of the waters that we swim in Scottish football, and we've maybe just thought, well, why shouldn't we go for this? Yada, yada. But also, we've probably still sold them for less than what the actual amount they're worth is. And maybe there's a learning curve for everyone to take from this with the other players we've brought in. And maybe you look at the window that these guys signed in, and you think of the desperation Celtic were in to get them in, and they were probably given 5-year deals for guys that Ange, I think Juranovic was maybe more of an Ange signing, but Giakoumakis was just because he needed a body. And yes, he did well when he played, but really maybe Ange looked at him from the get-go and thought, these not part of my vision, right? So see in the future, the signings that have came in since, I don't see an Atati leaving for a 5 to 10 million, right? I don't see O'Reilly leaving for 5 to 10 million. No, he won't, mate. No, he won't. He's on dipping form for 6 weeks over 18 months, Connor. Behave, right? And the scout's already interested in him. Come on. You look at other players I'm just saying, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Jota, I'm sure he's convinced he'll get double the return on those 6 million investments. Easy, if they were to be sold. Not that we want that. Abada, 3.5 million. He'll go for 10 million plus, in my opinion. I don't think we'll make the same mistakes again. I think we've maybe just had to take a bloody nose on these two. But at the same time, there's positives that have come out of it. We're going to get a striker that Ange has identified, if it's one of the Korean lads. We know that will be a market he's pursuing, first and foremost, before Celtic had any interest in it. And secondly, with the right-back situation, we know that while Juranovic leaves, we've trebled our money and we've replaced him already. Terry, it's not all that bad, but I think there is learning curves to be had as well.
Aye, absolutely, Bossy. Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not. I agree with you. I agree with you every now and again. I mean, at the end of the day, anything we hear about these deals are, we don't really know what's going on. At the end of the day, we don't know what's going on. The press don't know what's going on. I'm disappointed in the Giakoumakis one. I have to be honest. I really sort of I grew an attachment to the guy, but he's gone. I've already said my goodbyes. I know he's not out the door. I'm already thinking, as I said, who's my new cult hero? It's Alistair Johnson. What are we bringing in for these guys? Are we bringing in 11 million, 12 million, something like that? What do we do with that? What do we do with that money? Is that money all available to the manager to go and strengthen? Does that money pay off Ajeti and Barkas from years gone by? You know, I still want. I still
curiously, Terry, on that though. See, curious on that. And is this how we've been conditioned over the last 2 decades?
Aye.
Like, look what we've spent for what we've just made, just right there, because it's recency memory. 2 most recent sales. Look, we've spent that on this. We are forgetting about the cash revenue Celtic sits on as well.
Aye.
And we're not taking that into account. We have to be honest here, and I'm just being guilty of it there myself. When that club's posting accounts of circa £30 million revenue or in reserve, no one's flagging that. Are we conditioned to think we can only buy with what we sell? So what is that money to do? What's it there for?
We're just going around in circles a wee bit on this because we've talked about this so many times about. My belief is we should be pushing our record transfer fee and our wages should be going up every few years, as would do in any other business, any other walk of life. Everything goes up. I was thinking the other day, and it was quite topical because there's been lots of Brian McClare pictures going up on the internet and stuff, and look at the state of him and look at him. He doesn't. Would you believe Brian McClare doesn't look the same way as he looked 35 years ago? Would anybody actually believe that? But I was thinking, Brian McClare, if I'm right, we bought Brian McClare from Motherwell for 800 grand in the early to mid 80s. 800 grand. Do you know what I mean? And we're still spending 800 grand on players now, almost 40 years on.
We did Bustalgia last night, Terry, and we were talking about, the team, and you're looking at Alan Stubbs, £4 million at centre-half. I'm like, that's what we paid for Starfelt.
The difference then is, but see, Alan Stubbs was one of the
one example. I just mean the fees.
I know the fees, but I'm just trying to give you a wee picture of what the real difference is in terms of the Premiership and us and kind of thing. Alan Stubbs was one of the most sought after centre halves in Britain at that time. He had Liverpool. He was in the office with Kenny Dalglish negotiating a deal for a joint deal with him and Jason McAteer. And Stubbs almost fucked up McAteer's deal because they really wanted McAteer, but they wanted to take both. But Stubbs was the lesser priority of the two. Stubbs was one of the most sought after players in Britain, and Celtic were able to get him. And we spent 3.5 on him. And again, how long are you going back there? That's got to be 25, 27 years, something like that.
4 million, 1996.
Can you imagine, though, if one of the most sought after centre halves in the English Premiership came up now? What are you talking? You're talking 70, 80 million.
But whilst we're never going to be near that because of the revenues,
I know that.
I still find it difficult to accept that a £4 million player like Alan Stubbs would be Ange's third highest ever signing. Fourth highest ever signing out of 18 signings when it's a full rebuild job in 2022-23. That's mad. And that's one thing. But anyway, Ange just confuses all, Connor. But one man who is determined to lay it all out there. Doesn't matter what you ask him, Connor. Ask him, what he makes of fucking rocket science, and he's got an answer for you, right? This boy will answer anything. And if it comes to talking about Celtic's spending in the window, well, he just can't get enough. Mickey Beale. What do you make of the nonsense this guy's talking now? He's not back down, he's doubled down, and we all have a laughing at the bus. But for him to be talking about and just spent more money than what Gerrard did in 3 years, I don't think he knows much about net spend. I also don't think really it's his gift to continually talk about Celtic's expenditure when it's got nothing to do with his cause, because his cause is his team, right? His club. Whatever Celtic have spent has been money that, as we've just said, we brought in for player sales. It's been prize revenue. It's been because we've won bigger trophies more often than they have. It's because we've got a bigger ground that they'll never have. These are basic facts. I worry why this guy. I mean, I don't worry for him. I mean, I couldn't give a monkeys. Do you know what I mean? But I think the way he's acting is like who's just very naive. Who is like, I don't know, give someone their first pint of lager, and they'll talk. Right? They're going to talk about their cat that died 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? They're going to get emotional. They're going to give you everything about their story. One pint. Do you know what I mean? It's the first pint of all time. This guy's like this at every single presser. He can't shut up. Connor, are Celtic lucky to have spent the money they have under Ange?
No, this guy's an absolute fucking cockwomble as far as I'm concerned. But like, he's just he's the fucking he really fucks me off, and like I hate that he's getting like this energy at me that because he doesn't deserve it. Fucking Del Boy on steroids, man, just talking pish, like being an absolute charlatan, just try to. He talks more about Celtic than he talks about his own fucking team. He talks more about Ange and Celtic, what Celtic have done than him. See, I'm trying not to bite too hard, right? But once I start, I can't stop. Like, right, I've got this list here. A list about Celtic's net spend, right? It's right here on my phone. The overall net spend, right, with the outgoings like Ayer, Brown, Edward, Christie, Biles, Shved, and Sham, everybody, right, and all the incomings, Kyogo, Starfoot, Abada, everybody, all the 18 players, our overall net spend is minus 2.6 million. So we haven't spent over our means. You know, it's like, do you know what I just I say? It's like somebody who has a really high paying job and can afford a really nice house, and then the guy who works part time in McDonald's is just like, why have you got a nicer house than me? Why have you got nicer things than me? Because we fucking earned the money and it's our right to spend it. And even then, we're not spending without our means. We're being clever with our money and with our spending, you know, which is something that fucking Rangers or the old Rangers never got the grasp of, you know. Somebody could fucking correct me or not, but did they not spend like something like 7 million on Ryan Kent alone?
Aye, and about 15 million installments, but aye, you're not far off. I think they'll be paying that till 2,123. But Terry, I mean, the guy's setting himself up for a fall, in my opinion. I agree with what sort of David Kelly's saying in the comments, David Ferguson. We're all having a wee bit of fun with it. I genuinely think let him keep going. We were saying off air because Connor was like, I wish they got beat today. And I went, no, that's nowhere near good enough. I don't want, the Beale machine to stop just yet. I think you want him to reach fever pitch, because right now we're hearing comments this week that the league isn't on him, even though by the end of this season he'll have managed 23 of the games, right? 23 of the league games. That's called the majority, right? And he will lose the league, I think, by more than 9 points by then, right? He then twice now has suggested Ange Postecoglou is in a favourable position to him because he's been able to spend the vast fortunes that he has. Anyone who thinks Postecoglou was inheriting something that was a good thing at that time is just in cuckoo land as far as I'm concerned. But I think the more he talks, the bigger the fall that comes his way. I'm kind of all for it. I marvel at it, but I just think right now he's proven he's a rookie manager. He's got no experience in these situations. He very much is believing his own hype, but I also think he's trying to protect his own brand a lot here, Terry.
He's a charlatan. He's a charlatan, boy. No, honestly, I'm going to have to hold my hands up. I'll be honest. This fucker's getting to me. He's affecting my happiness because he's... No,
that doesn't take much, mate.
See, every time that fucker speaks, I just feel my fucking blood boiling so much. All I see
Terry,
is...
they can't do basic maths. I think it's only a 3-point gap.
All I see is Danny Dyer playing your man Mick in EastEnders, standing behind that bar, talking absolute pish to fucking people who are absolutely blocked. Fucking idiots. I would never get myself into that state. But no, he's annoying me. He fucking is. He gets to me. It's just, I hear his voice and it just causes me pain. It just goes through my whole fucking body. And I said to you before we come on, boys, I do give a wee bit of credence to one of the sort of discussions we had in the WhatsApp where Mark Kearney has said he does have something about him. And I'll be totally honest. Since this guy came in, he has got maximum points. Other than that one game against us, he has got maximum points where they have been absolutely fucking honking against. I've watched the games. I know Mark doesn't. I watch them. They have been absolutely honking in every game. They should have dropped points by now.
But what part of that's luck? What part of that's luck?
Yeah, but Connor, at Celtic, we've got this thing where they keep going to the final whistle. Celtic will always get one. Celtic will find a way. You can call it luck, or you can buy into this. I call it resilience. I think they've found a resilience. I really do. I think if Gio was still in place,
I think that's the dogs at the caravan there, by the way.
Fucking, she doesn't like you, Terry, does she?
I think that's the dogs back at the caravan.
You fucking. Two seconds, lads.
Boys, I wouldn't bring him on again. See the amount of interruptions in this show.
He's got no chance.
Honestly,
he'll never make it.
We're starting to whittle him out, and he's one that's got to go. Honestly, see, if this was still under Van Bronckhorst, the gap now would be 15 points because that team would not have found a way to win the games that they've won. Now, I think this guy has got faults. I think he's got flaws. I think he talks a great game.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he'd be able to back it up. I really don't. I think he's going to come a cropper. I really do. However, whatever he's telling them, they're believing it. They're finding a way to win those games. Under Van Bronckhorst, we're 15 points clear. League's gone. We're currently 9 points. League's gone already because League was gone at Tynecastle. But anyway, he has installed some kind of resilience that's enabled them to just hang on to our coattails. But fuck, he's one annoying bastard. I can't fucking stick him. I cannot stick him. The sooner he's gone, the better.
Let's take it another way.
Yes.
Ange Postecoglou, I think, is a master of minds, right? I think that's one of his traits. I think he, psychologically wise, he's done things. I've said this before, right? See, last season, when he said to Kenny McIntyre, well, depends on what team you want to win, mate. And I went, that's Lennon going, well, you're all biased against us. It's the exact same thing, but it's how he's delivered it. And I went, that is brilliant psychology. And I think that tells me Ange reads a lot into what's going on around him. And I think he's seeing a love bombing for this guy that he didn't like initially. And then he's looking at him going, did you just call me lucky? Yeah, you're right. I'm a lucky man. I've got a beautiful family. Yada, yada. I think Ange is licking his lips. February 26, Connor. Tick tock, Mickey Beale. It's over. I think Ange will go into that game with just a wee certain more edge to him going into that game. I think it's not because of respect. Oh, no. Far from it. It's because he's annoying my mate Terry. That's how I think Ange is beginning to think.
Oh, Ange usually stays very cool, calm, and collected, and I feel like looking into like his comments and that, Ange doesn't normally bite much to the media and that, but he's kind of commented on what Beale's saying and like fucking fair fucks because like this guy's setting himself up for a fall, man. He's like setting himself up. He's like he's like a big game of Jenga. He's fucking ready to tip at any moment as soon as the brick comes out. And look, I'm not expecting it to be an absolute fucking pumping of them. I think it's well within the possibility, considering how absolutely shit they look. Like, they look absolutely terrible right now. I've watched, I think, most of their games since he's come in, and I think they look worse under Beale than Gio, genuinely. I think they look worse.
I've watched all the games apart from today in Kilmarnock, but I think it was 5 games before that.
I think they've conceded first in near enough every game they've played, and that'll catch up at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't keep conceding first and winning games by scraping them without it catching up to you eventually. And look, whether it happens before or after we play them, it's going to happen. This guy is, you know what I think it is? I think it's all a deflection. I think it's all a deflection tactic because he knows he's come in.
I think because he's not signed a player yet. I think he's getting rid of this stuff.
They're going to sign fucking Todd Cantwell, who's more worried about fucking dyeing his hair and doing TikToks and that.
Oh, you. Nah. What? Right. Didn't let the bonfire lights fool you, son. Right?
I can't say much. But
I think when you get to the stage of 21st of January and you're trying to do a rebuild job in a team that was 9 points behind, you expected to have a couple of players in. So you're right. He's got to deflect it on it. Oh, well, lucky Celtic getting to sign players. We're just in a different place right now. We're on a different train. We're miles ahead.
We're a different fucking galaxy for them, Russell.
Terry, I think right now, and this is going to be our final point tonight because I'm going to go watch the boxing because, you know, I want to watch it. But what I will say is, when it comes to the narrative that he's creating right now, do you remember? I've quoted this plenty of times, right? But remember the Loudon, what's it called? The Loudon Tavern or Loudon Inn? And they're all bouncing. Yes, we drew Celtic. And they've won 4 games, including like Falkirk twice or something like that under Murty. And Brendan Rodgers, very calmly, be careful what you wish for. I think we are entering February 26th is be careful what you wish for. If you want to poke the bear, big Ange, not that kind of, not the bears in the house, not that. I mean, you want to poke Ange, you want to annoy him. Okay, up to you. But be careful what you wish for, Mickey Beale, because this is going to end one way, big boy, right? And it ain't going to be to your taste. I think, hopefully, we're just warming up, Terry, for February 26th. Keep him on that wee winning streak, because the fall's going to be too good. Because come February 26th, no more excuses, no more hiding places. Us against them, Ange against him, the mole in the camp. I just think it's box office now, and it's been created box office by the guy who's going to end up on the canvas.
Aye, Boise. In terms of this cup final, when we were already in the final, we had our place secured. It does have me rattled, but only because I just want to every time he speaks, just that noise. It's just that noise.
He annoys me more than Gerrard, and Gerrard spoke some amount of pish as well when he was in charge of Rangers.
See that cup final. That cup final is going to happen on a fucking absolute clusterfuck of a pitch. Anything could happen. Where my head is the intrigue that has been created by the pish that this guy is spouting. This could play into our hands a wee bit in terms of Ange, because every single job that comes up in England from top of the championship upwards, Ange Postecoglou, he's in the betting, he's up near the top. I think this fucker has been spouting so much pish that Ange will actually be saying, do you know what, guys?
I'm not going till he's gone.
He's going to stay till he fucks on bastard back to wherever he came from. That's what's going to happen there.
Guys, honestly, it's all fight and talk. It's all
I feel as if,
I mean, Ange's seen off 2 Rangers managers already. He's gone for the treble.
Right.
See if you cut across me once more, I'm going to speak to the fucking producer. See the guy. See the guy above Boise that owns this whole show. I'm going to speak to him because that's twice you've cut across me, and I'm not fucking putting up with it anymore.
Right, Terry. Right. Anyway, on that note, there is boxing on tonight. Eubank against Liam Smith. I am team Chris Eubank by a mile. I think he's fucking hilarious. I like folk like that. Anyway, because he plays a character, folk think he's all serious all the time. But Terry, this is a key question. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. You're boxing tonight. The most important thing is, what's your walk-on tune?
Mooy, how do you like it? How do you like it? Mooy, how do you like it? Good night.
I like that one better.
That's better than the fucking ones that
Connor, I was going to ask you yours, but
Give me that
Can't
one.
get better than that. I'll see you
Aye,
later.
fucking.
I mean, you've all that stuff at the start. You know, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.